Today I want to talk to you about the issue of the school to prison pipeline, specifically in Detroit, Michigan. This issue originated through many years of systemic racism. It boils down to negative stereotypes prevalent in today's society against African Americans and minorities. In the 1960s, segregation occurred due to Jim Crow laws and redlining. Whites and blacks didn't attend the same schools and achieve the same level of education. Housing discrimination also created issues for African Americans, which resulted in negative finances and continued oppression even after slavery. Now you may be asking, why am I going so far back to explain the school to prison pipeline present today? The reason is because this issue impacts African Americans primarily. In the city of Detroit, school policies treat students as criminals when they don't follow the rules. This creates an experience for impacted students that make them feel badly about themselves and creates barriers for a successful education. From surveillance cameras to officers on site, the environment is one that creates fear instead of an engaging, relationship-building, comforting environment. In 2017, the Detroit Public Schools Community District recorded 16,000 suspensions, many of them involving kids getting kicked out of school for everything from fighting to disorderly conduct to insubordination. That's thousands of kids booted from schools for days, weeks, or months in an academically struggling district that can't afford to have so many kids missing class. It's also thousands of kids kicked out with few options to continue their education, but plenty of ways to get into trouble. Michigan's zero tolerance expulsion law contributes to the school to prison pipeline. It gives school officials the mandate to kick kids out for subjective reasons. But wait, there's good news. Beginning with the 2018-2019 school year, every school in the district will have an in-school suspension program, something some schools currently don't have. Each school would also have a dean of culture who would deal with discipline issues, and they will have a guidance counselor. There is a strong focus on intervention through programs that emphasize positive behavior and restorative justice programs that address conflict and misbehavior by having students learn the impact of their actions. School leaders and teachers are trained on the new code of conduct. They're also trained on positive behavior, classroom management, and cultural issues. One broader issue that needs to be considered is the fact that African American children in low-income urban areas may have experienced stressful childhood trauma due to their environment. This could impact the behavior of the student. In these cases, a positive approach to looking at the root of the problem versus just punishing the student could help the student work through what's bothering him or her. Fact: students attending high schools that have a substantial amount of black students attend schools with a police officer at higher rates than students attending schools with fewer black students. A 2013 study found that when schools add police, they record more weapons and drug crimes and report larger numbers of non-serious violent offenses to the law. Youth Voice, a Harriet Tubman Center organization, the American Civil Liberties Union of Michigan, the Department of Human Services, politicians, and more people are gathering together to convince school districts to utilize restorative methods when suspending students for low-level offenses, such as failing to conform to a strict dress code. It's a vicious cycle. If a student is suspended once, they are likely to be suspended again. Those multiple suspensions lead to bad grades and failed courses, And then that's when a lot of students drop out of school altogether and turn to crime. We need to look at the root of the problem of why students are acting out in school. We need to fix those issues instead of punishing a student who probably needs intervention instead of isolation. They just need someone to talk to help them work through their problems. Systemic racism has caused many issues to African American families, such as poverty, homelessness, inadequate education of parents and children, drug use and alcohol abuse, separated families due to members being incarcerated, poor nutrition, health issues, some stemming from environmental racism issues such as lead poisoning or poor water quality, and insecurity and mental health issues. Now, while not all students act out in school experiences or all these issues are the reality to all, they are reality to most African American students. And they need help to resolve their issues. They need love, they need support, they need someone to talk to. They need someone to be there to figure out what's going on to help them work through those issues. They don't need criminal charges and isolation. They need help talking through the issues that they've faced for many years, generations before them have faced before them. And we can do that if we try to avoid the school to prison pipeline by doing some relationship building issues where we don't just put people in timeout and scream at them or fuss at them, but we actually talk to them so that they understand the importance of a relationship and talking to people that are there to help them.